The call came while I was sitting in a cafe in Jersey City, waiting for a client. The steam from my coffee fogged my glasses as I answered, expecting a simple check-in from my husband, Ryan. Instead, his voice was laced with smugness. "I'm leaving you, Madeline. I already sold the house. Moving in with my new girl. Good luck finding a place." Froze. Around me, the city kept humming, horns honking, laughter spilling from the next table. But in my ears, only his cruel chuckle echoed. I pressed the phone tighter, my knuckles white. He thought I'd scream. Hi. Instead, I took a breath and said calmly, "Aren't you silly, huh?" Then I hung up and went back to my meeting. But when I returned home, what I found waiting shattered every illusion I'd ever held about Ryan. When I pulled into the driveway that evening, the house looked wrong. The curtains were drawn, the porch light burned out, and a for sale sign stood at the edge of the lawn with a garish red "sold" sticker plastered across it. My chest tightened. He wasn't bluffing. He had really done it. Inside, the air smelled hollow like dust and fresh paint. The pictures that once lined the hallway were gone. The rug we'd chosen together, rolled up and missing. Even the couch where we'd spent countless nights talking was stripped away. My life had been packed up and sold without me. I stumbled into the kitchen, gripping the counter for balance. The cabinets were bare except for a single coffee mug. My mug, left behind like some cruel joke. I sank onto the floor, the weight of betrayal crashing down. Ryan and I had built this life together. 10 years of saving, renovating, sacrificing. We fought, sure, but I thought we were steady, reliable. He told me we were a team. And now, with a single phone call, he'd taken it all. I replayed his voice in my head. "I already sold the house." How? The house was in both our names. He couldn't have done it legally. Could he? My mind swirled, torn between heartbreak and disbelief. Later that night I called him. He answered on the second ring, his tone smug. Finally sinking in. "Ryan," I whispered, my voice cracking. "Why are you doing this?" "Because I can," he said coldly. "Because she makes me feel alive. And you're just boring." The words cut deeper than any knife. He laughed again before hanging up, leaving me staring at the phone in silence. For days, I drifted in a haze. I went to work, met with clients, smiled when I had to. But inside I was drowning. My friends told me to fight. Call a lawyer. But I couldn't even bring myself to face the truth. That the man I'd trusted most had gutted my world and left me standing in the ruins. And yet, beneath the grief, a question nagged at me. How had Ryan sold a house that was half mine? The ache of betrayal shifted into a sharper edge. Curiosity. Suspicion. If Ryan thought I'd just curl up and accept this, he didn't know me at all. The morning after Ryan's call, I woke in the guest room of my friend Lila's apartment, staring at the ceiling, my body heavy with exhaustion. My home was gone. My husband was gone. But my mind wouldn't rest. How had he pulled it off? The house was in both our names. Every time we'd signed paperwork, the notary had emphasized. Both signatures, both present. So how had Ryan sold it without me? I needed answers. That afternoon, I called the title office listed on the sold sign. My voice shook, but I tried to sound calm. "Hi, this is Madeline Pierce. I believe there's been a sale of property on Willow Lane. I need to confirm the paperwork." The woman on the other end paused, then tapped on her keyboard. "Yes, the sale closed last week. Congratulations." My throat tightened. "Actually, no. There's a problem. I never signed anything." Another pause. Longer this time. "That can't be right, ma'am. The file has both signatures. Yours and your husband's." My heart stopped. "Mine." "Yes." I could almost hear her frown through the phone. Everything looked in order. "Unless..." She hesitated. "Would you like me to send over a copy?" Minutes later, the documents hit my inbox. I opened them with trembling fingers. And there it was. Page after page, with my name scrawled in messy, uneven strokes. Signatures that were close enough to pass a glance, but wrong. The slant was off. The loops were jagged. Ryan had forged me. The betrayal hit me harder than before. Not just emotional this time, criminal. He hadn't only left me. He had stolen from me. I called him immediately, fury coursing through my veins. He answered with a chuckle. "Ah, you found out. How could you?" I hissed. "You forged my signature. Do you know what you've done?" "Relax, Maddie," he said casually, using the nickname he knew I hated. "It's just paperwork. You'll get over it. Besides, the money's already with me. You can't stop it." I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles ached. "This is fraud. I could press charges." He laughed again. "Go ahead. By the time you figure it out, I'll be living large with someone who actually appreciates me. Good luck proving anything." Then he hung up. I sat in silence, my breath ragged, but slowly, a strange calm settled over me. Ryan thought he was untouchable, that I was powerless, that I'd roll over and accept his betrayal. But he'd made a mistake. Two actually. First, forging my name created a trail of evidence I could use. Second, he underestimated me. I called Lila into the room, showing her the documents. He gasped. "Madeline, this isn't just wrong. It's illegal. You have him." "Not yet," I whispered. "But I will." That night, I spread the papers across the coffee table, highlighting every fake signature. Then I emailed them to an attorney whose name I found on a recommendation form, Mr. Collins, a lawyer who specialized in real estate fraud. His reply came within hours. "I've reviewed the documents. You're right, this is forgery. You may have a strong case, both civil and criminal. Let's meet." My pulse quickened. For the first time I felt something stronger than heartbreak. Determination. But the biggest twist came the following day. Lila's neighbor, who worked part-time at the county clerk's office, overheard us talking and pulled me aside. "Madeline, I shouldn't tell you this, but the buyer of your house? They haven't finalized the deed yet. The bank flagged something unusual. There's still a hold." Spark ignited inside me. Ryan thought the house was gone forever. But it wasn't. Not yet. And if I moved quickly enough, I could stop him before he disappeared with everything. That night, as I stared at the forged documents glowing on my laptop screen, I whispered to myself, "You wanted me to beg, Ryan. You wanted me to break. Instead, you just gave me all the ammo I need." Ryan always believed he was smarter than everyone else. So when the bank flagged the sale, he probably assumed he could smooth it over with charm and arrogance, the way he always had with me. But charm doesn't fix forged signatures. The morning of the final closing attempt, I got a call from Mr. Collins, my lawyer. His voice carried a hint of excitement. "Madeline, the title company received your statement and the forged documents. They've put the transaction on hold pending investigation. Ryan doesn't know yet, but when he walks in today, he's going to be blindsided." I closed my eyes, relief washing through me. So it's real. He can't take it. "Not only that," Collins said, "but this may lead to criminal charges. Forgery, fraud, even theft. You've done the right thing by speaking up." My heart pounded. For weeks, Ryan had treated me like a fool. But now the stage was set for his performance, and his downfall. Clara, my friend at the clerk's office, called me that afternoon. Her voice was breathless with barely contained laughter. "Madeline, you won't believe this." He showed up to the closing in a new suit, grinning like he was about to win the lottery. And guess who he brought with him? I braced myself. Who? Her. The girlfriend. Dressed to the nines, acting like the queen of the world. I gritted my teeth but said nothing. Clara continued. They walked in holding hands. Ryan told the banker, "Let's make this quick, I've got dinner reservations tonight to celebrate." The banker slid the file across the table. "There's a problem with the paperwork." Ryan laughed. "Problem? No, everything's fine. My wife already signed." The banker's expression didn't change. "That's the issue. We received a direct statement from your wife. She denies ever signing. And after review, these appear to be forgeries." The room went silent. Clara whispered through the phone. "Madeline, his face, it went red. Like someone had ripped the floor out from under him." Ryan stammered. "That's ridiculous. She's lying. She always does this to me. She's trying to ruin my life." But the banker wasn't buying it. "Sir, the signatures are inconsistent. And your wife provided proof of her deployment at the time of signing. Unless you can explain how she signed documents from Jersey City while she was across the state with a client, this isn't adding up." The girlfriend pulled her hand back, her face pale. "Ryan, what is he talking about?" Ryan's voice rose. "Don't listen to them. He's just bitter. She's jealous." But the more he shouted, the more pathetic he sounded. Clara barely held back her laughter as she described the scene. The girlfriend stood up, pointed at him and said, "You told me everything was yours. That the money was yours." Ryan tried to grab her arm, but she yanked it away. "You're a liar," she spat before storming out of the office. Security stepped in as Ryan's voice cracked into hysteria. He slammed his fists on the table, papers scattering everywhere. "You can't do this to me. That's my house." The banker calmly replied, "Not anymore. The sale is void. And we'll be reporting this to the authorities." When Clara finished recounting everything, I sat in stunned silence. My chest was tight, but not with grief, with something new. Vindication. Ryan had thought he could humiliate me, strip me of everything I'd built. But instead, he had humiliated himself in front of strangers, his mistress, and soon the law. That evening I received one last call from him. His voice was ragged, desperate. "You ruined me, Madeline. Are you happy now?" I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply said, "Aren't you silly, huh?" And then I hung up. For the first time since his betrayal, I felt like I could breathe again. Ryan's empire of lies had collapsed. And the best part, I hadn't even needed to fight him with fists or fury. Just the truth. The night after Ryan's hysterical phone call, I sat on Lila's couch with a cup of tea, staring at the city lights outside her window. My life as I knew it was gone. The house, the marriage, the future I'd imagined, shattered. But for the first time I didn't feel weak. Felt free. Ryan's betrayal had torn through me like a storm. At first, I'd been lost in the wreckage. But now I saw something clearly. Storms don't just destroy. They clear the ground. And I had a chance to rebuild. The first step was practical. Mr. Collins, my lawyer, helped me file an official fraud report. "Madeline," he said during our meeting, "Ryan left a trail a mile wide. Forgery, misrepresentation, fraudulent sale. This isn't just grounds for civil action, it's criminal. We're pushing for both." Hearing the word criminal made my stomach twist, but Collins's calm assurance steadied me. "Don't think of this as revenge. Think of it as protection, for yourself and for the next person he tries this with." He nodded. "Then let's finish it." Next I tackled my finances. Ryan had drained our joint accounts, but Collins and a financial advisor guided me through the process of reclaiming what I could. Since the sale had been voided, the funds were frozen. Ryan couldn't touch them. The irony made me smile. He'd thrown away our life together for quick cash, and now he had nothing to show for it but legal trouble. But resilience wasn't just about money. It was about me. I started running again in the mornings, letting the pavement carry my anger and grief out of my body. I went back to yoga, where silence and deep breaths gave me a kind of peace Ryan's chaos never had. Each small routine reminded me that my life wasn't over. It was mine again. Lila noticed the change. One night, she sat across from me at the kitchen table. "You're different," she said softly. "Different how?" "Stronger. Like you're standing taller. Like you're not afraid anymore." Thought about it. She was right. 4 years, Ryan had been the center of my world. His moods, his approval, his plans. Now, without him, I felt unsteady, but also lighter. "I guess I finally realized," I whispered, "that losing him wasn't losing everything. It was losing dead weight." Meanwhile, Ryan spiraled. Clara texted me updates from the clerk's office. He came in again, demanding to know why the money was frozen. He's desperate. Wedding. Begging. The image made me laugh for the first time in weeks. Ryan, the man who once strutted through life like he owned it, reduced to begging clerks for scraps. But beneath the laughter, I felt a steady determination. His downfall wasn't enough. I needed closure. And closure, Collins reminded me, meant seeing the process through. Legally, publicly, undeniably. One evening, as I closed my laptop after reviewing yet another round of paperwork, Lila asked gently, "Do you think you'll ever forgive him?" I stared at the screen, my reflection faint in the glass. Forgive. Well, but I don't need forgiveness to move on. I just need to make sure he never does this to anyone else again. For the first time, I wasn't scared of the next step. I was ready. Ryan had turned my life upside down. But I was standing again. Stronger. Martyr. And this time I wasn't alone. 'Cause now the law was on my side. By the end of that month, Ryan was no longer the man strutting in new suits with a girlfriend on his arm. He was unraveling. Clara called me one morning, her voice almost gleeful. "You should have seen him, Madeline." He came into the clerk's office again, demanding his property back. He was red-faced, shouting that it was all a mistake. Security had to escort him out. I closed my eyes, a quiet smile tugging at my lips. Ryan had always been obsessed with appearances, always needing to look in control, untouchable. Now he was being escorted out of buildings like a criminal. And he wasn't wrong. That's exactly what he was. Meanwhile, my life was slowly taking shape again. I opened my own account. No shared names, no shared access. I worked with a financial advisor to start building toward something Ryan could never touch. My independence. At work, I threw myself into my clients, determined to prove to myself that I was more than just a woman scorned. My boss noticed. "Madeline, you've been sharper lately. More focused. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." It wasn't that I had more energy. It was that I'd stopped wasting it on someone who didn't deserve me. Ryan's girlfriend, the woman he'd left me for, didn't last long either. Lila showed me a post she'd made online, a photo of her suitcase with a caption, "Never again." She'd realized what I already knew. Ryan was all smoke and mirrors, promises he couldn't keep, money that wasn't his, charm that crumbled under pressure. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But the legal pressure was what broke him. Mr. Collins updated me every few days. The bank is pushing fraud charges. The DA is reviewing evidence. Between the forged signatures and the frozen funds, Ryan's backed into a corner. For years, Ryan had made me feel powerless. But now he was the one trapped, every move watched, every lie dismantled. Still, part of me struggled with guilt. One night, as I sat on Lila's balcony, watching the city hum below, I whispered, "Was I wrong to push so hard? Should I have just walked away?" Lila turned to me, her eyes steady. "Madeline, he didn't just betray you. He stole from you. He committed crimes in your name. If you hadn't fought back, he'd be free to do it again, to someone else. You're not destroying him. He destroyed himself." Her words sank deep. For the first time, I truly believed them. Ryan tried one last time to manipulate me. He left a voicemail, his voice shaking. "Maddie, please. Sorry. I messed up, okay? I just wanted to feel alive again. Don't let them ruin me. We can fix this." I listened once, then deleted it. Because I didn't owe him my pity anymore. By now, I wasn't just surviving. I was growing. I rented a small apartment of my own. Tiny, yes, but filled with light. I painted the walls a soft cream, bought mismatched furniture from thrift stores, and for the first time in years, every decision was mine. Every corner of that space whispered freedom. One evening, as I unpacked books onto a shelf, Lila asked, "So what happens when the trial starts?" I set down a photo frame, an empty one waiting for a new memory. Then Ryan finally faces the truth. And I finally close this chapter. For the first time since his cruel phone call, I wasn't dreading the future. I was ready for it. Ryan's empire of lies was collapsing brick by brick. And mine was just beginning. The courthouse smelled like polished wood and old paper, the kind of place where truth either stands tall or collapses under its own lies. I wasn't sitting in the gallery, I couldn't bear to, but Clara was. And she texted me updates with each passing hour. Ryan shuffled in, not the confident man who once bragged about upgrading his life, but a hollow version of himself. His suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled, his eyes darting nervously toward the floor. "He looks wrecked," Clara's first text read. The prosecutor wasted no time. He laid out the forged signatures, the fraudulent paperwork, the frozen funds. Page after page, proof stacked against Ryan like bricks in a wall he couldn't climb. The bank's representative testified. So did the notary, confirming that I hadn't been present when my signature was added. Each word painted Ryan into a tighter corner. Clara's second text buzzed through. "He's sweating," keeps whispering to his lawyer. When Ryan finally spoke, his voice cracked. He tried to spin the story. "My wife Madeline, she's lying. She wanted out so she's framing me. She never cared about the house anyway." But the judge leaned forward. "So you're claiming she fabricated her own forgery? That she falsified documents to trap you?" Ryan stammered. His words twisted, collapsed on themselves. Even his lawyer looked pained. Then came the final blow. The clerk read aloud a voicemail Ryan had left me, the one where he laughed, bragging about selling the house, telling me to good luck finding a place. The courtroom fell into silence. Clara texted, "Everyone is staring at him. He's finished." Ryan's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend really, didn't show up to support him. Neither did any friends or family. He was utterly alone, stripped of his illusions. When the verdict was read, fraud, forgery, attempted theft, Clara told me he went pale as chalk, his hands gripping the table like it might save him. But nothing could. That night, Clara called me as she left the courthouse. I could hear the echo of her heels on marble floors. "Madeline, it's over. He's guilty. They're going to sentence him next month." I sat in silence for a moment, letting the words sink in. Over. The man who once mocked me, who took my home, my trust, my future, was now facing consequences he could no longer run from. Later, I opened my journal and wrote 3 words. He is finished. Not because I hated him. Not because I wanted revenge. But because justice had finally spoken louder than his lies. And for the first time I felt something like peace. But vindication wasn't just about Ryan's downfall. It was about my rise. I'd spent months tangled in his betrayal, drowning in heartbreak and anger. But now, as I sat in my little apartment, surrounded by mismatched furniture and hope, I realized I wasn't broken anymore. I was free. Clara texted me one last message that night. He kept looking at the door like he expected you to walk in and save him. But you didn't. And that broke him more than anything else. I closed my eyes, tears burning, but this time they weren't tears of pain. They were tears of release. Ryan had chosen his path. And I had chosen mine. The day Ryan was sentenced, I didn't go to the courthouse. I didn't need to. Clara called me as soon as it was over. Her voice was steady, almost reverent. "Madeline, it's done. He's going to prison." They read off the charges one by one. Fraud, forgery, attempted theft. He didn't even look up. Just sat there like a ghost. I closed my eyes, taking in the words. For so long, Ryan had been the shadow following me everywhere. His betrayal, his cruelty, his arrogance. And now that shadow was gone. When I got home to my small apartment that evening, I stood in the middle of the room and breathed. The place smelled faintly of lavender from the candle Lila had given me. Light spilled across the walls, warm and golden. It wasn't a mansion. It wasn't even close to the dream home Ryan and I had once planned. But it was mine. Every corner. Every choice. I curled up on the couch with a blanket, And for the first time in months, I didn't feel loss. Felt peace. In the weeks that followed, I started filling my life with new beginnings. I adopted a scruffy little dog from the shelter, naming him Jasper. His wagging tail and clumsy affection filled my apartment with joy. I signed up for a pottery class I'd always wanted to try, my hands covered in clay as I laughed with strangers who quickly became friends. I even started sketching plans for buying my own property one day. Something Ryan never could touch, something that would carry only my name. Each step forward was a quiet declaration. I survived. But the most important shift wasn't external. It was inside me. For years, Ryan had taught me to measure my worth by his approval. His moods, his plans, his desires. He convinced me that silence meant weakness, that patience meant passivity. But I've learned that silence can be strategy. That patience can be power. When Ryan tried to humiliate me, I didn't scream. I didn't crumble. I stood still. Waited. And when the time came, I let the truth do the work. That's what destroyed him. One evening, sitting with Jasper at my feet and a cup of tea in my hands, Lila asked me softly, "Do you think you'll ever forgive him?" Thought about it. About the man who had once made me laugh until my stomach hurt. About the man who later laughed as he stole from me. Finally I shook my head. No. But I don't need to. Forgiveness is for people who want reconciliation. You don't. What I wanted was freedom. And I have it now. Sometimes I still replay that call in my mind. Ryan chuckling, telling me to good luck finding a place. And I almost laugh. Because here I am, in a place that is mine. Stronger than before. No longer a victim of his betrayal, but a survivor who turned his lies into his undoing. If you've stayed with me until the end, remember this. Betrayal doesn't end your story. Transforms it. Ryan thought he was taking everything from me. My home, my money, my dignity. But what he really gave me was a chance to discover who I am without him. Stronger, smarter, freer. So if you're listening to this and you've been betrayed, lied to, or left behind, don't believe for a second that it defines you. It only reveals them. Speech balloon, tell me in the comments. Have you ever had someone's betrayal turn into your biggest lesson? Like this video if you believe truth always outlasts lies. Subscribe for more cinematic stories of heartbreak turned into triumph. Because sometimes the cruelest words meant to break you become the spark that makes you unshakable.